On today's episode of Open Box Policy, Jamie works, we fill the time, Adam almost dies, and then Jamie calls Adam's ass out.
Oh.
I don't know what the first two meant, but the last two are true.
Did you get me working on the...
We recorded the entire time you were working.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
God
yeah,
damn
yeah,
it.
that one.
Sorry,
I forgot about
sorry,
That's okay.
listeners.
It's only like a few minutes.
Oh.
In other news, this was actually a pretty good episode. Find us,
Unlike the other 70 that all suck.
Find us on socials. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube at OBP_raw.
And if you want to send us an email about anything, ideas, how much we love Adam, how much you want a discount for Waffle House.
And how much I don't lie about anything.
All right.
Well, you did lie. I caught you
You did.
on this episode.
I know. Don't give it away.
So, send us an email at obppodcast@gmail.com. How's work going?
It's great. I love it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Good.
I got my little routine down every time I go into work. I'll go in, I'll put away my lunch, get some coffee, eat my little breakfast, and search news for about an hour to an hour and a half.
You're such a fucking idiot. Are you serious?
I swear to God. And then after that pass, it's about like 9:30 or 10, and then that's when I like really start to bear down and get to work, because I have like a 2 or 3 hour time window where like I can get everything
You actually
done.
do work.
Right. Well, it's where I
out
can
of an
get
8 hour
everything
day,
done.
you have a 2 or 3 window where you actually work.
Yeah, and then the rest is just like searching shit on the internet.
Let me guess, you probably make like $100K a year, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I remember I'm still super jealous of people that have that luxury. I used to have that luxury, and I can remember and recall going into work, and I mean, I was a fantastic employee. I was a good employee.
Yeah.
I did my job really well. I mean, that was always up for promotion or management. But you just get in such a great routine that you're like, dude, I've just got all this time.
How's bragging camp going?
No, it's just, shut up. I'm just saying, like, I can recall the days when I had all that. I have not had anything even remotely similar to that in a long time. I mean, like, all day I'm just staring at a computer, and I keep thinking to myself, holy crap, I spent the last 10 minutes just kind of staring at my computer, and
Yeah.
during that 10 minutes, I am already an hour behind. It's
Do you
crazy.
have like discounts?
Like from Waffle House itself, like the restaurants.
100%, yeah.
So there are about 5 or 6 different units, is what they call them. There's 5 or 6 different units here around Atlanta that I actually get 25% off of all orders, and
But
then
none in Tennessee.
every other Waffle House location I get 10% off.
So can I just drop your name? Because I fucking love Waffle
Yeah.
House.
They automatically
Yeah.
know my name at the
Yeah.
location.
Oh, Devin? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
10%.
Oh my God, you're talking about Devin Hughes?
Yeah. That guy
We love him.
that's like that hard worker that puts in 2-3 hours of work every day. That guy?
That
Yeah.
puts in a solid 2-3 hours.
Yeah, we actually heard he's going to end up being the CEO, you know. But they're going to
funny
ask him
thing
to work
is-
5 hours a day.
The son of one of the founders of Waffle House, we have like pretty much the same backstory. So we're both originally from Tennessee. We moved to Atlanta for a girl. Both of our girls are from North Carolina. It's fucking crazy.
Both of us put in about a third of the work that
Right.
we need to put
Both
in.
of us found that niche where we put in about 2-3 hours of work.
Yeah.
I gotta call Glenn.
Oh, shit.
No, I just gotta call Glenn and have him check my computer.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We're already recording. No. Put your headset back on, Devin.
Fine.
No, I'm fixing my earbud.
Yeah.
Pinching
We're
my
just going to
ear.
record. Jamie's just going to make a phone call while we're on the
Yeah.
podcast. Whatever.
This is a segment called Jamie Makes a Random Phone Call.
Yeah. This is OBP Raw at its rawest.
That's true.
Yeah.
You bet your ass I'm not editing this out
Guys,
either.
can you go to my
Yeah, I know.
computer?
We need to just start like
And then
having bathroom breaks and stuff on the podcast.
Go to
What
my email.
what most of the listeners don't know is there have been numerous times where I will make some gesture to Devin, letting him know that he needs to keep recording so I can go and get more alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll like gesture to me like keep talking or keep the story going on your end, and it's like he'll go and like take a random piss or like wash his hands or something like that, and then sneak back in.
Yeah, just like wash my face and come back.
I'd take a bath.
Yeah, I come back and Devin texts me just randomly on the podcast. Why did you change clothes? It just doesn't make any sense.
How many listeners do you think that I just sneak off and take a bath because I don't talk for so long?
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of my friends was telling me recently, I've had a lot more people that have been really involved. They've said that they really like some of our more topic-based podcasts. They really enjoy it. We've talked about Area 51. We've talked about Area 51. I can't think of anything else, but we've talked about other stuff. And they've said that they've actually been really pleased that since Open Box Policy first started that you are a bigger fixture. I mean, you've always been the producer. You've always been the guy that would feed us and say, all right, talk about this or whatever. But now you've kind of found your voice. You found more of a niche.
I found the host/producer area.
Yeah. Host/producer extraordinaire.
See, that's what I like to do, just not in the podcast in general, but just in life. You set the bar super low for yourself, so every episode, everything that you do in life, you're just constantly succeeding.
Constantly, yeah. Yeah, you constantly are overcoming, and someone's like, wow, like, what is it to overcome all of these hurdles? And you're like, well, let's be honest. Yeah.
What kind of hurdles am I overcoming?
Yeah, it's like stepping over a pile of shoes at my house.
Listen, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be a self-help life book, and it's going to be called Set the Bar Low.
Yeah.
And then it's uphill. I mean, it's downhill from there.
Yeah, set the bar low and always be happy.
Yeah. Always succeed. Always beat your own goals because you've set them so low.
Yeah, the subtitle. Yeah, the subtitle, yeah.
In fine print. And then it's going to be like 200 pages, but only like 3 of them are going to be filled.
Exactly. Yeah, because you only do 3 hours of work.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's why. No, tell me this. Have you had anybody mention to you since we stopped? Have you had anybody, or since we recorded last time, mention the whole Area 51 and the whole aliens thing to you? Has anyone talked to you about that? I've had numerous people talk to me about it.
I've had, of course, Anna talked to me about it, and then one of my friends from back in Tennessee actually talked to me about it. It was like, bro, do you think it's really going to happen? I'm like, of course not. It's not going to fucking happen.
Jamie said she's almost done everybody.
That's okay. They can hear.
It is going to happen.
Yeah. How many people have you had talk to you? Or what have they been saying?
All right, love you, bye.
Everybody that's been talking to me has been saying that totally crazy. Totally crazy.
You just lit up like a light bulb.
Because I was listening to a group of people talk about this, and someone had mentioned that we had talked about it on the podcast.
Bullshit.
And it was just these are like friends.
Yeah.
So I start listening, and randomly, someone that hadn't listened to the podcast was like, "Bro, we've got the numbers." And I was like, yes, yes. Like, I said it. Yes, we do. We have the numbers. We have enough people to just go and storm that mother. And yes, like, there's going to be a lot of people that die. I mean,
but hey, those are the pawns to the game.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot play chess without sacrificing some pawns.
Fucking
and
right.
A horse and some of the other pieces every once in a while.
Because did you just call it the horse because you didn't know what it was called?
Oh, I know it's the knight and the rook and the bishop.
All
yes,
right.
I know. It just sounds funnier when I say the horse.
Because when it boils down to it, this is a war. This is the war to unveil the truth
of Area 51. Of Area 51. And I contain. Jamie's back, by the way.
I am back.
She's
sorry.
quietly.
I know. I'm just doing work stuff.
Yeah, she's doing work stuff.
She
no big
ghosted
deal.
in and out.
Yeah, but it's no big deal.
Sorry.
I mean, so I maintain that. Well, Jamie even mentioned this. I think we've all mentioned this. I think she might have been the first person to mention it. That they've known about this, and we've known that Area 51 was a thing for the last 40 years or 35 years. I'm sure they've moved on, and they probably have some bunker somewhere else. So when we do raid it, it will literally just be boxes of files
probably have
and old airplane parts.
They
and
probably have
aliens.
like an area out in the mountains. And
Area 52.
But like it's like a hologram because it's 2019 and you can't storm it because it looks like a fucking mountain.
You just run
but it's
through
just
it.
all aliens inside.
You got to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's so cool. I mean, I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but that's what's so awesome about these stories is that, the guys like Bob Lazar and other people that have talked about Area 51 say what you see on the surface. There's landing strips, there's bunkers, they would build new buildings. That is just the tip of the iceberg. That it is this huge complex under the desert where there's stuff that goes on for like a mile.
I think if anybody thinks that what we are all seeing on the surface is what the government is, you're stupid as shit.
Of course you are. And
with everything.
Yeah. There were
I think it goes way farther than we could even comprehend with anything.
Well, I used to date this girl that lived in Spotsylvania, Virginia.
Shut up, I want to live there.
Where they fought the Battle of the
Spotsylvania?
The vampires?
That was it. No, it was the
spotty guys.
Called the Battle of the Pines or the Battle of the Trees. It's the trees there are so thick. It's got a certain name. Someone who's a Civil War historian will know this, but it's the forest is so thick that it was a really, really odd battle, a really odd like exchange between the North and the South because you could barely march because the trees are so thick there. The pines, there are all these evergreens. It's like the Battle of the Evergreens, the Battle of the Pines or something like that. Anyway, so they have mountains there, these like random little foothills and random mountains. And one day we're passing one, and she points off and she says, "You see that right there? Like you see all this barbed wire fencing and all these red and white signs that say if you pass this, you'll get shot." Like, yeah, she's like, that's all a government installation. That mountain is one of the president's bunkers. It's all metal lined, and it will withstand a nuclear attack.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it's like it's just sitting.
Well, fuck all of us if we're not in there, huh?
But it's just sitting in this like random part of Virginia.
Yeah,
out
not
in
like
the
it's not
middle
like in the
of
middle of
nowhere.
a city that's like here we are.
But
Yeah.
Virginia,
It's close enough to
beautiful
Washington. Wait, what did you just say?
They can all travel
Nothing.
there. What did he say?
And it's a really quick trip.
Yeah.
If you get in like the helicopter, or you get in one of their like little things.
It's
that fly.
probably like protected by like the national forest. Like that's why nobody would ever buy it. No, there would never be any red flags of like we're going to buy this property and we're going to build on it. Yeah.
But I mean now it's covered in razor wire and red and white signs, and on the other side there's a gravel road. And she told me that periodically while you're driving down this crazy long nothing highway out in the middle of nowhere, there'll just be a random like white Jeep just sitting on the other side of that fence that's doing like sentry work and patrol work. And it's covered with sensors. So if you start going through it, someone is on you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like in
That's how it is at Area
51.
51. At Area 51, there's sensors all through the desert. They've seen them. I've seen guys take videos of them. They'll get right up to it, and within 5 minutes, there's a Jeep that comes over a hill, and it's just staring at them. And they're armed, heavily armed, and they're just watching. They know you're there. Like I've heard stories like they know you're there like miles before you get there.
It's a fucking
it's awesome.
It's awesome and scary.
It is
anyway.
Yeah, I hope we find out the truth one day. But when we raid Area 51, we're not going to find the truth. We're going to lose a lot of people.
And
we're going to find what the government wants us to find.
Yeah, we're gonna lose like a solid 1 million people, and there's going to be nothing.
Which honestly is okay. You know, this Earth is already overpopulated, so we needed like another plague or something like that. You know, so this is
ready.
The Area 51 plague.
Speaking of a plague, I thought I was going to die a few days ago.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
As a heart attack.
And I also
that
was a bad joke.
That's a bad joke.
That was a bad joke.
Also,
it wasn't even meant to be a joke either.
Before Adam
was meant to be a
tells
joke.
this story, I know he's going to play it down a little bit, but
Wait, Adam's going to play it down?
Yeah.
I think he will.
I thought he was going to talk it up.
No,
Bro.
I mean, I think that he will play it
Fuck you,
down
Devin.
because I have seen Adam in lots of different situations, and what he has described to me is not something that
I was terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was this an external force or an internal force that almost killed you?
Internal.
Well,
that I thought. And I mean, I thought I was like I thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack. I can't explain it any differently than that. I started to have some weird issues at work. I felt some tightness in my chest and my arm got numb. And I went home. I checked my blood pressure. I mean, this went on for hours.
And we're at that age. I'm not saying we're
at 40
old,
years
but we're
old.
at that age where things
it's a big
happen.
deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to check things out.
We have like a 34-year-old friend that had a heart attack.
Yeah. Like
And
almost died.
He almost
We
died.
talked about it on
They
here.
called it the Widowmaker, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Ryan.
crazy. So I'm gonna hit the high points. I mean, and imagine that this all took place over almost 24 hours. So I freaked out a little bit. I'm a worry
called
wart.
us.
I know. I called people, but I didn't call everybody because I didn't want everybody worrying.
Yeah, but if there's somebody that you would call it medical shit, it'd be me because I'm the one to be like, let's get this shit done.
She's the doctor, Adam.
I'm going to be honest.
I'm
I
not
was
the
afraid that if I
doctor.
called you, you were going to be like, you're going to die.
Well, to be
Don't
fair,
panic.
To be fair, after Adam told me the story, I now looking back, I did kind of basically say like the same thing kind of happened to me, and I almost died.
Yeah, she basically did.
My bad.
She was like,
Sorry.
I remember when I almost died. I was like,
My bad. I remember when, yeah.
So that's
here.
the same thing that happened when I almost died.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it.
So I started having this weird thing in my throat. Not my chest. It's not in my chest. It was like near my throat. Felt like someone was squeezing my esophagus. Like, whoa, that's weird. I've had that before. Feels like a panic attack. Then my arm gets numb. Like, whoa, that's weird. I don't like that. So I go throughout the day. It was a really tough day, really stressful day. A lot of stressful stuff happened at work, but all these things were happening before that. So I go to a friend's house that night. I have a cocktail. I'm just kind of sitting there hanging out with him. I stand up. Now my leg is numb. And that's when I'm like, okay, either I have a major chiropractic issue, which I've had before, or something is happening. He diffuses, says everything's cool, everything's fine, everything's good.
Yeah,
Just like a true friend. Everything's going to be okay.
It was like he was
I would have
hypnotizing
not
me.
done that. I would have been like, "You're about to die. Go to the hospital." So it's probably really good.
Precisely why I didn't call them a credence.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Call me. Glenn's not like that, but I am.
Yeah, Glenn would have been like, "Fuck, mate," just like
Glenn would have been like,
Throw some
take a
mud.
shower.
Throw some mud on it and
Yeah.
just fucking
finish
get
your
on with your
story,
life.
and I'll tell you
Come
what
over and
Glenn
have a
would
hot
done in
tub.
that situation.
So I here's where it gets crazy. Here's where I'm gonna mic drop on you. I go home, I check my blood pressure, it's totally fine. I was like, well, this is odd. My blood pressure's totally fine. Check it 1,000 times, both arms, totally fine. And I have a nice blood pressure reader. I go to bed, take some anti-anxiety medicine, like, because I always take it at night, and go to sleep. Wake up. Slept, okay. Laying in bed, I feel a lot better. I throw my legs over the side of the bed, and I try to step down. My foot is now numb, along with the whole side of my leg, and my arm.
This is your left side?
The left side. So I say, yep, it's time. I'm probably going to go ahead and make an appointment today. I might call work and tell them that I'm getting a little freaked out because my anxiety is going through the roof now. So I test my blood pressure. It's really high. Much higher than it should be for just waking up. You should wake up with low blood pressure.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, something is wrong. And then I notice that I feel a little weird in my head. And I go to touch my head, and the side of my head and the side of my face is kind of numb.
Oh, shit, man.
Yeah.
So
Right?
I take a shower. I call a friend of mine on my way to the clinic, and I say,
Not me.
I'm going to – I know, yeah, I didn't call Jamie because I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to believe that I was dying.
yeah, so I went to the clinic, and I said so have you ever been calmly terrified?
Yes.
In a very calm –
I was calmly terrified before they took me to ICU. I was like, I don't feel good. And they were like, there's something wrong. I was like, there's something wrong with me. And I was so calm. And then when they rushed in, they were like, you are really bad. And I was like, I feel really funny. But I had this like weird calming.
But inside, you're freaking
Yeah,
the
and I
fuck
said
out.
the doctor, I was like, am I going to die? But I said it so calmingly that now looking back, I should have been screaming. But yeah, I was so calm. And I was like,
calm.
this is this is me.
It's a little
I'm going to
creepy,
die right now.
Yeah, the woman at the desk said, what are your symptoms? And I just started laughing. And I was like, so this is going to sound a little odd, but I'm having a lot of symptoms that would make me think that I'm either having a cardiac event or I'm having a stroke. And she was like, oh my goodness.
Especially with your head.
Oh, my goodness. And I said, yeah. So
right now, I can't feel the entire left side of my body.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and it wasn't, so
look,
I could feel it. I could stick something in me and feel pain. I could all the way down, even in my foot, in my head. I could feel pain.
But that's not really numb. I mean, but what you have is normal for like a stroke. Like you can be numb and still feel pain.
Yeah, it was like it just didn't. It felt kind of like tingly and odd. So
like static, like TV static.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like thicker and heavier. But all motor function, all cognitive activity, face totally fine. I can swallow. I can blink. I can talk. I could do everything. So I'm having a lot of conversations with people, and I'm like, honestly, do I sound weird? They're like, no, you sound fine. So I go to the clinic. I talk to them. They come in. They start testing me, and then a doctor blows in the room. A doctor didn't walk into the room. He blew into the room, and he was like, "You need to be in an ER." And I was like, oh, okay. And
he
goes,
drops down for the fucking ceiling tiles.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. He threw a cape off his face. And he was like,
you need to go.
He just appears from the paint on the wall.
Yeah.
Just like
he materialized. So he did. And I'm not exaggerating. He literally blew into the room.
No, I believe
and he
you.
was like, you need to be in an ER. We cannot do what you need. I need to ask you a lot of questions, and I need to monitor you. And
He's being super safe, which is awesome. Yeah.
So he starts like checking me. He starts checking my ears and my mouth and my nose. He starts checking all these things, and then he starts asking me a host of questions. And he checks my blood pressure again. He's like, "Your blood pressure is normal," and I'm like, "Okay, so." Yada 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 yada.
But you can still
it
die
actually,
with
my
your
blood pressure went down. My blood pressure went down when I got to the doctor, which is nuts.
Which is weird because if you were having some sort of anxiety attack or panic attack, your blood
vitals
pressure
would be off.
Yeah.
So
super sky
but I'm also one of those people that when the shit hits the fan, I am super calm.
Yeah, but
You
that
get
is not a panic attack.
Daddy syndrome.
But the day before, I was having a lot of stress and anxiety. So, and you can have a panic attack without your blood pressure going up. So anyway, I go to the ER, tell them what's up. And she's like, do you feel like you're having a stroke or a heart attack? And I said, look, I don't know what any of those things feel or sound like. I know what I can look up on the internet, and I'm going to tell you my symptoms. And
WebMD says I'm dying.
I told him her all of my symptoms. She said, okay, I'm going to submit this. So imagine a chair 15 feet away that I'm going to go plant my ass in. I did not get to the chair. Yep. Before they were like, Mr. Sanderson, come back right now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
The same urgent care doctor. We got to get you back here.
Yeah.
No, it's...
He came, he was 50 miles away.
Did he drive you?
I work here, too. I work here, too.
Yeah. He had his hands like in these fake wings.
I'm back.
But, so they took me back, and immediately they threw all these sensors on me, started doing EKG, started doing blood pressure, started doing all this stuff. Blood pressure was a little elevated then because I had just walked across the parking lot. I had just walked in and was now on my way to the ER, officially stressed the fuck out.
Yeah.
So they do all these tests. EKG, they told me exactly what I've heard before. I have a normally abnormal EKG, if that makes any sense. It's a normal abnormality that people have where one of the electrical pathways into their heart is not as strong as the others, but it's like your body just compensates and it works.
And then after they told you all this, Dr. House walks in, and then the House theme starts playing.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're on
like,
a fucking episode of House.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
But his beautiful blue eyes.
You've got checks. It's localized in your heart only.
Check his toenails.
Yeah.
Did you step in some dog shit lately?
I know. Yeah.
He got a life-threatening bile disease.
Yeah.
That only I know.
And coincidentally, hepatitis.
Anyway, continue the story about how you almost died.
Almost died. So I am still freaking out. She checks my blood pressure, and it's fine. She looks at my EKG, talks about my EKG. They take a bunch of blood, and they tell me, we're going to monitor you for a while. So they're monitoring. I'm calm. And, there's a few times when I kind of start freaking out because I'm like this. I'm scared. I'm not in tears, but I'm 40. This is ridiculous. You know,
when you're there by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want anyone to be with me. That's a really embarrassing moment.
I mean, I would have been there, and I would have been like, you know.
I asked
Jamie would have been there.
They were like, yeah, we know that. We know her.
Yeah.
I would have been there and been like,
she's revered.
And then I would have been like, what shit can we steal from this room?
That's fucked up.
What do you need? Do you need some water, ice chips? What do you need? I know the drill. Let's do it.
Really?
I've never stolen anything, but my husband has stolen a lot of things from hospital rooms. Just, no,
but Glenn also told me it's like a vendetta. He's like, they're charging me, I'm stealing
but
shit.
it's always, and it's
like
stupid. It's stupid shit. It's like,
it's like
alcohol wipes. It's not like you're
Yeah.
stealing. I mean,
Cotton
I stole
balls.
a body bag once that I still have at my
What
house.
the fuck?
Yeah, I was in an ER room. Not for me, my friend at the time. We were in an ER room at Skyline, and in the room we were in, I have a body bag, and I still have it. I moved 2 houses since then, and I haven't been able to get rid of it.
The only thing that I stole the entire time I was at the hospital was the hearts of all the nurses.
Oh
terrible
my God.
joke.
Look at your face. You're so happy with yourself.
That was really good. I've been waiting. That was not a terrible fuck. You know, I did make a terrible joke. I made a joke so awful in my like weird calm terror. This woman brought in a chest x-ray. My chest x-ray was perfect too. They were like, everything's perfect. Your heart is in totally normal size. Anyway, she brings in this chest x-ray machine, and she's going to put that big like lead plate behind me.
and then sit up straight.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there in this thing like with all this shit all over my tits, and my hair's all, you know, I've got my hair's all like matted up with all this shit because they got it all over my chest.
Imagine me doing that, because I've had like 20 of those.
Yeah, Jamie's hair is
Tits
outrageous.
legit up, and I have like these little stickers everywhere, and I don't find the stickers for like 6 days later. I'm like in bed, and I'm like, there's a sticker down the vagina. Where did that go?
I went to
Why is
work
that
with
there?
2 big heart monitor stickers on my shoulders that I didn't know about, and I tore out a like handful
you think
of hair.
You know where they all are, and then you lose track.
So
and you don't know.
I make this awful joke. This girl pulls out this lead thing, and then she pulls out this like trash bag looking thing.
And then she pulled out your dick.
She pulled out my dick. She went down on me. Yeah,
And it turned into a porno.
What's weird is that the doctor was watching the whole time.
Yeah, and it was the same urgent care
same
doctor.
Yeah.
This is the reason why he wanted you to go to the ER.
Yeah, just so he could blow
Porno
me.
show.
He wanted to watch someone else blow me. So she pulls out this bag.
So stupid.
It is stupid, you dumb shits.
Sorry.
And it's got writing on it. She's putting it in, like putting this lead plate inside this bag, and I look on this bag, and it says R-A-D bag, rad bag. And I just sit there and stare at her, and I go, wow, that's a really rad bag.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I appreciate that joke to the fucking max.
I said, that's a really rad bag.
Are you sure you weren't having a stroke?
I'm positive. You know, well, I may as well have had a stroke because she looked at me. She just shook her head. And I go, man, I was like, that's a really lame joke. And she was like, you have no idea.
That makes me so sad.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she
I'm
put
only
the
laughing
nail
so
in
hard
your
because I thought
coffin,
that joke
dude.
would kill it.
I thought she would start laughing. I was like, can I ask you a question? She said, yeah. I go, have you heard that joke 1,000 times? She was like, you have no idea. Like,
Yikes.
imagine
she fucking
someone
buried you in the middle of the desert without a grave.
I'm embarrassed for the situation. I wasn't even there.
Imagine hearing that joke 1,000 fucking times, and then like this,
and she's just done with her.
Yeah,
shift.
and I'm like, wow,
she's
that's a really rad bag, and she's just like, no.
She shuts you down immediately.
It was uncomfortable. If my blood pressure had,
you should have been like, it's my stroke who's making me say this.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't normally talk like this. It was the stroke talking. Yeah.
Oh my God, that hurts my soul. I was only laughing because I thought that she'd be like, oh, that was so
that
great.
was so funny. No.
And then you were like, she didn't like it. And I was like, oh.
It was the most uncomfortable
worse.
I've been since I was like a teenager.
Oh yeah,
It
because
was
you're there
awful.
by yourself in a compromising position.
Yeah.
Because you're probably in a hospital gown with all these fucking stickers on you. You're like, I'll
Yes.
make a joke, and then it was like, I'm gonna shut you fucking down, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's
she
a rad bag.
She could have just like shrugged it
would've-
off.
Radiation bag.
I would have laughed.
She put that fucking final nail in your coffin with.
It would have been funny if I'd have died
And
just then,
shook
right
your
that
head.
moment.
Oh my God!
If I'd
right?
have just like killed over with a fucking heart attack right
and
when.
then she would have always
She
always
wouldn't have cared.
remembered that
Yeah.
like the last words he said were, "That's a rad bag."
She wouldn't
Yeah.
even came to your funeral. She would just like send a letter to the pastor that's gonna officiate your funeral.
Yeah. I'll never forget his last words were, "That's a rad bag."
Oh
yeah.
my!
That would have been a pretty solid.
So you turned out okay.
So the doctor comes in the room, and I kind of explained this to Jamie. I'll explain this in maybe a tiny bit more detail, and then we're done with it. I'm trying not to undersell this. It was scary as shit. I was fucking terrified, everybody. So this doctor, I love female doctors. They are just so stately. I think that when they're speaking to men, that they think that men like need something special, and I don't. I'm like that guy who's
I think they feel like they need to show that
baby them.
Well,
I was thinking the exact opposite.
Opposite.
I was thinking
they need
like,
to be very stern.
Guess what? I've been through medical school, and I'm going to give you your shit because I'm a female, whether men need it or not. But like, I'm educated. I know what I'm doing, and here's what's happening.
I told Jamie as soon as I saw her walk into the room, I immediately felt more calm because they just have a really great bedside manner. At least all the female doctors that I've been.
We do.
Yeah. So she comes in for the second time, and she says, I don't understand all this, but you are perfect. Your blood.
Oh my God.
I know. I had my penis out. I was like,
you're just naked saying that.
Yeah.
You are perfect.
That's not what the rad bag
sir.
Lady said. But she came in. She was like, your blood work is perfect. We have tested you. We've done this. We've done that. She said, yes, you have an abnormal EKG, but it is a normally abnormal. We see these all the time. You could have had this since birth. Has anyone mentioned this? Yes, I tell her. She's like, Mr. Sanderson, one of two things have happened, in my opinion. She said, you take blood pressure medicine that makes you urinate a lot. And she said, I think that maybe you could be really short on electrolytes, almost like a pseudo dehydration. And she said, people can have these weird localized numbing effects if you're really low on electrolytes. She said, also, I think that you might have some type of pinched nerve and be having some type of like panic attack associated with the numbness or whatever. And I was like, okay, like I don't know what else to fucking say. Like, can I go now?
Sorry,
they let me go. They were just like, just go.
So
when you were low on electrolytes, I just figured like a fucking Gatorade spokesperson was going to come in and just be like, "Oh, is someone low on electrolytes?" And then you're in a Gatorade commercial
drink
the whole time.
G2.
So this is probably why Adam didn't call me. But so I came in today before we started doing the podcast, and he told me the whole story, and I probably should have been like, everything's okay, but instead I said, hey, do you know...
Sounds like a stroke to me.
I said, do you know, when I went in after I had Porter, they said that I was having a panic attack. And then they were like, oh, you have a spot in your lung. It's probably just a blood clot, no big deal. And then I almost died. So, like, don't get too calm, Adam. Just keep up
Adam,
the
you should have
paranoia.
called me.
Yeah.
I would have told you that you just needed a fucking Gatorade.
Yeah.
To get over it.
Yeah, and 10% off at all worldwide Waffle Houses.
Oh my, fuck yeah! I mean, if I go
and you'd be like, "Fuck yeah, let's go eat some eggs."
Yeah, I'd rather die
waffles.
happy.
No,
Right.
you got to get those smothered and covered. Oh my God,
dude! Like
your
smothered, covered, rubbed,
face,
loved. I don't even know what the hell
when
they have.
I said that to Adam,
Rubbed,
his face collapsed into his microphone.
Because I wreck it.
I know.
Will wreck that shit.
know.
And on top of that, I'll get
don't
like
get me started,
2 or
Waffle
3
House.
sunny side up eggs, bacon.
I get the little melt with like the egg,
The
and
Texas melt.
Oh shit! And like
Hell yeah.
tons of mayonnaise, and they smothered
Isn't
and
it
covered.
so fucking
Oh,
good?
God,
It like melts when you take a bite into it.
I know.
The egg, the cheese, the
Like-
sausage.
Like 6 months ago, I took Porter to the doctor because he had the flu, and then we left, and I was like, I'm eating at Waffle House, and I went and got Waffle House like to go, and like when I came back, he had puked in the car.
Holy fuck, that scared the shit out of me, dude.
Well,
Y'all
what's
Who
that
pooped in
noise?
the car? Wait, hold on. Who pooped in the car first?
No, Porter puked in the car.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I thought he was cool to
fuck, that
go,
scared me.
and I wanted Waffle House so bad. What happened?
not
What was
hear
that
that?
ding noise? I heard
My
the
fucking-
ding.
So when you said
My
Porter
s-
puked in the car, his sound panel fell, and it literally strummed the guitar when it fell. So behind him,
That was scary, man.
Yeah, he heard like all of a sudden. Imagine like not singing a guitar and it just strums all of a sudden.
And I'm in a room by myself. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so
you're alive.
I am alive,
but don't be.
But nobody
not
knew what
cautious.
was going on.
No, it's upsetting.
One of those.
It's upsetting.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would have called
survived.
Glenn in that situation, he would have been like, fuck it, mate. Just come over and get in the hot tub,
Yeah. By the way, just in case anyone's
wait, hold
curious.
on. Oh, wait, hold on. I have something to address real quick. Do you guys remember last
the
podcast?
topless picture of you in the hot tub on Facebook?
But do you remember? Do you remember this part? Hold on, everybody, listen.
He is. He's all like. He loves this thing.
But he never gets anything he loves.
Posts all this bullshit on Facebook about it all the time. He's always talking about it. Always being like, "Yo, you gotta come over and get in the hot tub, man." He's really.
Have you been in it, Adam?
No. Whoops.
Lie detector says that
she stops it right there. I know what's coming.
Lie.
It was a total lie.
Adam was in there the day after he bought it.
I did it deliberately.
The day after he bought it.
I told Glenn. I was
and
like.
Then Glenn said to me, he goes, "Yeah, I mentioned that you'd been in the hot tub." And then Adam was like, No, you didn't tell her that. No.
Totally. I told Glenn, I was like, yeah, I told Jamie I had been in. He was like, oh, well, yeah, I told her you've been in that. And I was like, you fucking idiot. And he was like, yeah, she didn't say anything about it. And I was like, oh, she will.
Yeah.
She will.
Because I hold that in my being, and I just let it fester until moments like this.
So I told Glenn. So I did it deliberately. Because that night, I said, I made some comment like, earlier in the night, I had made a comment.
The night that you wore to my hot tub?
No. The night that we did the podcast, I made a comment that I had that sounded like I had been in it, and you snapped and were like, "You've been in the hot tub?" And I was like, "No."
Well, I just played the thing where Devin said, "Have you been in there?" And you were like, "No."
Yeah.
No.
Well, because earlier in that night, you snapped at me, and I was like, "Oh, Glenn." Glenn's gonna
now
catch
it's
a
my
lot
fault
of
that
heat.
you lied. You little fucking get off your high horse.
I did it for you.
Bite.
I didn't want you to get upset
it?
at me.
I know. And then so Glenn came home from work, and he was like, Adam knows you know. And I was like, does he? He's like, well, I'm not really sure. He just told me, he was really worried. And I go, is Adam afraid of me? And Glenn's like, I think he is. And I was like, that makes me so happy.
Yeah. That makes you happy that I'm almost that I'm like pseudo afraid of you?
Yeah.
Well,
100%.
I think all men should have a healthy fear of their friends' wives.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I'm not afraid of.
But you know what's so funny about that is like how many episodes ago you were like, I think every man should maybe wanna have sex with their friends' wives.
I don't think I said that.
Oh yeah, I have a sound. You did.
It was close to that. You was like, I think every friend's wife is attracted to their wife or something like that.
I don't remember saying that.
But it's fine. But I said
that.
So, but to be fair, I played that episode for Glenn while I was in the hot tub having sex.
Oh,
wait!
You're so dirty. Are you serious?
Wait,
you played our podcast.
Yes, that's the point I was going to do.
After we did that.
Oh, okay. I thought you had sex to our podcast.
But my point was, I re-listened to the episode and I was like, Glenn thinks that's going to lead to other things. And you were like, what? And I was like, he always thinks so. It's not going to happen. And it happened. But we listened to the
first time you got in the hot tub.
Yeah.
She wasn't overtly topless, but she was obviously topless.
Okay.
Like a picture on Facebook. I was like, Jamie's totally topless.
Well, and I didn't approve that, but also you can't see anything.
She can't see her nips.
Well, that's what fucking matters.
Well, but I looked at it, I was like, she's not wearing a top.
100%. So I played the podcast after all that happened, and we were listening to that, and then it was like, and that part played, and he was like, Adam's been in here, and I was like, when? And he was like right after I got, and I was like, fuck yes. And then it got to the point where it was like, Glenn just wants something to happen after, and it's not going to happen. And I was like, fuck. God damn it.
You know what's funny though? I was totally depressed the whole time I was in your hot tub. I was super depressed.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, it was
depressed in a hot tub, bro.
Listen, I will say this.
Weird, yeah.
The hot tub is better than I thought. I got in there thinking it was like a big inflatable pool, and it has jets, and it is padded on the bottom and the top, and then he got
I told you, it's fantastic.
Yeah, you didn't tell me because you didn't tell me you were fucking in it until right now.
I started, and you react exactly that way. I was starting to talk about how great it was, and you were like, "Oh my God, you've been in it!" And I was like, "No,
don't you dare blame me for you lying."
I did. I started to talk about how great it was, and you snapped at me, and I was like, "No."
Devin is going, "Were you in there?" And you had a choice to say, "Yes,
I know.
I did."
Texted Devin during the episode, and I was like, "I was totally in it."
No, you lied.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm done with both of you. I can't trust it fucking either one of you. Fuck both of you. Look at my fingers. The trust circle has been broken.
Man. But I knew that it was going to happen. I knew Glenn was going to let the cat out of the bag, or I was going to let it out eventually. But
I know,
hold on.
everything. I know everything.
Isn't it? It's pretty good.
It is. He also bought this aroma stuff, and he throw it in there, and it smells nice. Doesn't really matter.
So it's like an essential oils bath.
Yeah, but made for the hot tub. But there were the jets are on one side, and the jets are way more forceful than I thought.
They're super powerful.
Okay, shut up.
Sorry.
I understand you were in the hot tub before me.
They're super powerful.
Just calm down for 2 seconds.
Sorry, I'm excited about it. I've been waiting.
You're
I've been
so
waiting to be excited about this forever.
You've been waiting to talk to it
because I can't wait to go over there again.
You're so excited to be outed by that.
I want one. Yeah, and not only is your husband's a great salesman. He came over and he was like. He pulled the top off in the really grand fashion and was showing me all this stuff. And I was like, man, you're a hell of a salesman. You should work for Walmart.
Walmart.
They'd make $1 million.
Specifically in the hot tub section.
It was good. I mean,
it is.
It's better. I talked a lot of shit, and I will swallow my pride and say when I got in it and saw that there were jets and bubbles and it was padded on the bottom and it was very comfortable and I could have probably sat in there for hours. Yeah.
It kind of changes your mind. Isn't it crazy? It feels like it's really high quality. Honestly. I mean,
I'm just still looking at you side-eyed.
It
Jamie's done.
I remember I can this is my first thought.
Hold on, let's hear this.
This is my first thought.
Hey Devin, do you want to you probably know this backstory
He doesn't
because
know
you
this
both
backstory.
fucking lie to me all the time?
Glenn showed me it, and I was like, "Oh my God, you bought a blow up fucking hot tub." That was my first thought. I was like, "This is lame,
That's
bro."
what I thought too.
Lame. And then I stepped inside of it, and I sat down to put my arms up on the side, and I literally turned around and was like, "Wow, man, this thing's really high quality."
I know. I was like, the bottom is padded. So comfortable.
That was the first thing I was like, the bottom's
and then he was like,
Now
"Here's
I
the
feel
jets." I was
left
like,
out.
"There's jets."
You said what? You feel left out?
Yeah. I haven't been in the hot tub.
Hey, if you want to know how left out I felt, go back 2 weeks ago when you two had your own fucking secret goddamn hot tub conversation.
Because I'm afraid of you.
There it is.
So I'm slightly.
Thank
Name
God.
of the episode.
Adam's officially afraid of Jamie. All right. Say it.
All right.
My God.
End it.
Well, now that I feel left out, this is Devin.
This is Adam.
This is Jamie.